Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Rios. I will be with you in 30 seconds as we wait for a couple more people to come in. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Steve Rios, and I am the Senior Director of the Florida Department of Children and Families Positive Pathways Program, which is administered by Educate Tomorrow and has been for about 7 years. We are very happy to have all of you here today for our monthly conference call. It is an opportunity to get to know each other and to share best practices and in your area. Today, we come with heavy hearts considering what our state has been through over the past week or so. And we are looking forward to using this opportunity with Positive Pathways in order to hear from you, those of you who are members throughout the state of Florida, maybe some of the challenges that you're experiencing, your students are experiencing. Can you imagine this is happening to our students who, the same students who have been through COVID? It is a really, really challenging time. So we are going to have a time to be together as the last few folks come in and join us. I'm going to share my screen and put up the agenda and share the agenda with all of you. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay, do you all see my screen and the agenda?
Yes, Dr. Rios.
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so as you can see, we're going to start off with what's happening regarding Hurricane Ian recovery. I've asked Mrs. Sandra Obis with Educate Tomorrow in Miami-Dade College to share a little bit about how campus liaisons can support students through this challenging time. And I will also open that up to anybody else around the campus, around the call. And then how can get your feedback and your thoughts about how Positive Pathways can help. And then we're going to have a special presentation by Embrace Families about their mentoring program. And then I'll talk a little bit about the upcoming homeless tuition waiver. We go through so much, we're so focused on what's right in front of us that we forget even the accomplishments that we've made. So if you have any opportunity, today to share about things that you have accomplished, that your work has done, please feel free to do that. I know we recently had the homeless tuition forum, which we were very fortunate to have Representative Marie Woodson join us at that forum, and she's planning to join us in the future. So I'll be talking a little bit more about that when we get to that point. And then we're going to have the onboarding for new members at 2:30, unless it's evident that there is a need to do something else with that time related to the hurricane. And if so, that's what we will do. Okay, before I go into what is specifically happening regarding the recovery, I opened it up to the floor for anybody who would like to share anything from your perspective going through this time. Please feel free to share about how you're doing and how the community that you are involved with is doing. Just an open up time.
Steve, I don't mind getting started. This is Jack Levine with Four Generations Institute. I just want to give you a very brief perspective. There are some resource dollars that are going to be freed up very, very soon. As some of you have followed the budgeting process in Tallahassee, there are some reserves that were held back and not used, basically not so much because they anticipated a hurricane, but for any purposes. And there's already an email that's been circulated this afternoon, which I can share with you for you to share with others, Steve, about a legislative budget commission meeting, which will be coming up, which will be looking at some use of reserves, emergency reserves, not only for infrastructure, but for some programming, as I understand it. I'll also say that, being as important a state as we are politically, this is not a partisan comment, but this is just a reality that we're going to attract some pledges, I believe, from our congressional delegations and others for reconstruction and recovery. Now, that again does not necessarily mean that this will go towards the programs that we are working on every day, but it won't hurt for us to have a sense of the pulse of what they are talking about. I think as we have our young people prepared for their futures, they are also an economic force. And that's something that is resonant with the business community as well as with the political community. So just keep up the great work. I know, Steve, you're helping to lead the charge to engage folks into expressing not only their challenges, but also their accomplishments. And that's very important when working with our political leaders.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack. I would like to, I see some folks here, Dan, Tammy, some folks who were directly impacted. And so if you are willing, if you'd like to talk to us a little bit about what's happening on your campuses and what you all are doing for the students in terms of relief.
We are beginning the term again back Monday.
Who is this?
This is Daniel from Florida Gulf Coast University. They did a modified schedule. They issued a modified schedule. I think there's still a lot up in the air. We have a call center that was set up for faculty and staff and students to call into. And I think we're a little over 50% have followed through with that to gauge an idea in terms of how people are doing. They rated people from a 1 to a 3. Our office with Student Care Services is reaching out to all the 3s to give them additional resources, community resources. From what I've seen at this point, with at least what students are reporting into that call center, had a lot of students that have lost either the house they were renting, cars, computers, that type of stuff seemed to impact individuals. There is talk about some additional funding coming from the institution that hasn't been determined yet to help those that are probably that 2 and 3 need. And then they are talking about if individuals may look to drop classes if they had to relocate or just too much going on. I believe this institution is going to honor that with an extenuating withdrawal automatically. So I'm not sure exactly how that process is going to work yet. But so far, that's kind of where it is. Campus-wise, Students were able to move back into campus housing. The college itself is quite a ways away from at least the beach and the islands that got destroyed. But the students are able to move back in. We actually provided housing, all of our students that were on either the homeless or DCF waiver ahead of time, where they could stay in housing or shelter. They used our arena for the shelter after everything was kind of announced. So the students, I believe, did get to go back into housing yesterday, and can move back for those that want to return. So at this point, that's kind of where we're at Florida Gulf Coast University.
Thank you, Dan. You talked a little bit about, perhaps some funding for students. Has there been any consideration for those students to get some of their housing, if they were out of housing for 3 weeks or a month?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how they're gonna manage that. I don't, to be honest, I don't know how they're gonna manage it. I mean, their housing's like really, really challenging right now. I mean, it's high cost. It was before the hurricane hit. So I really don't know how they're gonna
Yeah,
house
well,
people. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's gonna happen with that.
yeah, okay. I meant like a refund. Is there any, anybody heard of anything
I
like
haven't,
that?
yeah, I haven't heard that yet, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been talked about. I'll probably know more. I'm gonna go back into work Friday. They've asked for individuals, some to come back in. I've been on a few calls this week, but I'm not sure. Nobody's said anything about any type of refund related to housing at this point.
Okay, and do you
Daniel-
have that telephone number? Do you have the telephone number? You said there's a call center.
I can get it. I can look
Okay.
while you're talking. I can grab it and I can let you know.
Okay, good, thank you.
Daniel, I have a quick suggestion. I see the article from the news press. Nikki Ross is the reporter. This circumstance puts us in the middle of media. And every way, any way we can encourage and provide resources, that is faces and facts to the media, can't hurt. People are consuming this every day, and potential supporters are also consuming this news. So I would really highly recommend, and this is relevant for all the regions that are affected, to contact those reporters, get to know them, invest in some quality time, giving them access to some folks who would like to speak with them. And that can't hurt. It can only help our cause.
Yeah, thank you. I do want to make sure that Obas gets a chance to talk, so let me her now, who she is a licensed mental health therapist and has experienced a lot of, through COVID, dealing with students in crisis. And so then after that, I'll turn my attention to Tammy and others who would like to talk. So Ms. Obas, if you could share with us a little bit.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. Good afternoon, everyone. And again, as Dr. Rios stated, we do acknowledge all those who have been impacted by Hurricane Ian, whether you have lost electricity, had to evacuate, or return back home to find damages to your home or property. We definitely send out our thoughts and our hope for speedy recovery, and for speedy resources to be sent out to aid in those recovery efforts. With that being said, I also want to shed some light on our students. So as we see, these past few years have been very challenging in terms of them being uprooted since COVID and now dealing with the aftermath of the storm. I would like for us to shift our attention and understanding what is the best way to approach our students to find out what type of supports they need in this time. So a lot of them may not be quick to verbalize that they need that mental health support, which I'm pretty sure all of us on here have experienced. However, a survey that was sent out by Dr. Rios a few months ago, almost 40% of students indicated that there are some mental health challenges. They do have some mental health concerns and they need some mental health support. So that's 40% of our students who have answered those questions, but not a lot of them are actually being forthcoming when it comes to speaking to our campus liaisons about what's going on with them mentally. So a way that we can do that is to understand what type of questions do we ask to get the responses that we're looking for, in a sense, to see how we can better help our youth. So it's definitely okay to ask, how are you doing? And, you know, how are things right now? However, those are those surface related questions. We do want to be able to go deep to find out exactly what type of support we can provide to our students. And some questions can be as simple as, where are you sleeping tonight? Especially after dealing with the hurricane. A lot of them may be displaced. A lot of them may be in a state of transition. So where are you sleeping tonight? Do you have food? Do you need help with any extenuating withdrawals due to the hurricane? Do you have internet access right now to be able to complete classwork? Do we need to go to library or media center to borrow a laptop so that way you can do your classwork? What exactly is that they need? Does your little sister have diapers, especially if they have younger siblings, or does your son have pull-ups that he may need to sleep through the night? With all of those specific questions, it can provide us a map as to who do we refer them to for services. I always say, start in-house first. So start with those on-campus support services. So refer your youth to food pantries on your campuses. And of course, these are if your campuses have these resources. If they do, refer them to your campus food pantry. Is there a mental health counselor on site where they can go ahead and receive those approximately 7 to 10 sessions based on what campus you're at? Is there a campus closet where our students can get clothing? Not just professional wear, but just everyday clothing that may have been lost during the storm. Remind them that SNAP benefits are available. You can send them to someplace on campus that actually helps with the application process, or you can refer them to community organizations that help with those application processes. And for those students that are already eligible and are already receiving SNAP services, let them know that there's some legislative efforts in place right now that's providing additional funds on those SNAP cards, so that way they can be able to provide more food for their family. And once you exhaust all the community and in-house resources, then think big. Let's look outwards. Let's look at some community resources that are available. So refer our students to diaper banks if you know your local diaper banks in the community. Feeding South Florida is another great organization. Food distribution sites in your area are definitely helpful for people who need immediate access to food in that moment. And also mental health agencies. If for whatever reason they're not comfortable with the on-campus mental health support, refer them to maybe a community agency that can provide them long-term care. So all those things are what we need to be mindful of in this moment while we are recovering, rebuilding, and trying to regain a sense of normalcy. And I also wanted to remind each and every one of you of the new Suicide and Crisis Lifeline number. It is now 3 digits, 988. Students or staff can either call or text that number for support to receive immediate support. So again, 988 for those who may not know the new changes. Just make sure we are informing our students of all the different resources, and we are asking the right questions to get the answers that we need to provide the support to our youth.
That's
Does
wonderful.
anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Or does anyone have any specific campus support programs on your campus that is specifically designed to help with the relief efforts from Hurricane Ian right now?
If you have any or any links or anything like that, please feel free to put them in the chat.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for your time. And let this be a collaborative meeting today. As you guys think of different resources that other members on this team can utilize, definitely continue to drop them in the chat as our guest speaker is speaking today. findtreatment.samhsa.org. Okay, that's just one of many. Definitely continue to drop them in the chat, and let's build those community resource banks for our youth. Thank you guys.
Thank you
Have a
so
great
much.
day.
Thank you so much, Ms. Obas. I really appreciate it. All right, bye. Okay, well, it's wonderful to have a licensed mental health therapist who is such an active member of our community. So I'd like to turn my attention back now to other folks who are in the storm path. Ms. Tammy Nadeau, if you could share with us a little bit about what's happening at the University of Central Florida.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Steve, for the opportunity to share a little bit about what's happening here in Central Florida as it relates to the University of Central Florida and our efforts to support our students during this difficult time. We have at UCF formed what is considered a Hurricane Ian Student Care Assistance Group, where students have been informed that we exist, and they are in the process of, we've been in the process for the past couple of days of filtering calls as they come in and emails as they come in to support our nights here in Central Florida. And that ranges from many different resources, and I'll get to those in a minute. But being a part of those calls, I can share that I have shared and seen and spoken to students that have expressed mental health concerns, financial concerns in relationship to the pressures of classes, and wanted to know, will there be a support services for them or extended deadlines to complete their classes. And some of them may have lost their car or may have had to move. I'm quite sure you've seen in the news that some of our students were in affiliated housing or had to leave those apartments as a result of Hurricane Ian. As a group, the university, we have probably about 100 of us calling and filtering calls and calling students and responding to them about the resources that are here on our campus. And those resources include, and I'll just share a couple of those resources with you today. We first wanted to make sure that the well-being of our students was taken care of, and that was a priority. So calling our students, that was the main thing. We wanted to let them know that as an institution, we were here, that the well-being was important to us, and how can we assist them through this process of beginning to even navigate. I wouldn't call it normal now, but just beginning to deal with the current situation that they're in. What we have offered to our students includes an emergency fund, which our students may be eligible for if they submit the application. That emergency fund is up to $2,500. That is something that can transition them into a hotel or something safe if they are in need of that type of, if they're in need of a housing or some type of temporary housing. We also have put in place Lyft rides, free Lyft rides for our UCF nights. We have a code where our UCF nights can give the Lyft driver for up to $15 for 5 separate calls, car rides, and they can use the Lyft rides for that to get back and forth if they need that, if their car was damaged. We also, our counselors and psychological services individuals, professionals have been working around the clock for students, specifically those impacted. And so they have been on the ground since the day before the hurricane actually hit Orlando. We also have partnered with Celeste Hotel, which is on our campus. And if students are in need of a temporary place to stay, the hotel that is on our campus, again, we've come up with a code. The students will be given that code and they can having access to our on-campus hotel, which is called the Celeste Hotel. We also partnered with our meals, our catering services, where students can get hot meals if they were in need of hot meals. And again, there's a code for that. Students are emailed these codes. Once they identify as being in need, then we send them a list with all the different codes that they need and the resources attached to that. I will just say this is a all hands on deck approach from our vice presidents, our deans, our care services department, and student services department, and even myself, where I am housed in the Ginsburg Center. It's been all hands on deck for all of us here on campus to support those students and to ensure them and let them know that there is assistance for technology replacement. There is assistance from their professors, and that there will be extended deadlines and supporting them in relationship to contacting their instructors and just listening. Listening for me has been one of the main things. The first question I ask is, how are you? And then I pause just to listen, and they will definitely tell you exactly what's happened in addition to what they've written on the care assistance forms that they've sent to us. And I'll end by saying that at the end of the day, we want to just make sure our students have the appropriate resources at the right time. The assistance that they will receive from us is ongoing. As more resources become available, we will be communicating those resources to our Knights and in making sure, again, that their well-being is at the first and foremost, the most important thing to us at this time.
Thank you so much, Tammy. Does anybody have any, Dr. Nadeau, does anybody have any questions for University of Central Florida or anything to add? I see that the folks from AOK are here as well, and they have students throughout the state. Anything to ask Tammy or anything to add? Okay, how about those of you who are not necessarily on the campus that was hit, but may have students from areas that were hit? I see Caitlin Cates on as well with the Florida State University. Caitlin, have you experienced anything like that? Students who, maybe settled where you are, but they are coming from a place or their families may be affected.
Yeah, we've definitely had a few students who have families that are in South Florida, Southwest Florida, and they've kind of reached out and expressed some concern around their family. So I forwarded resources to them as I've seen things available. And if there's anything here today, we'll definitely be sending that along to those students as well. We have some alumni who are back in their hometowns of Southwest Florida. By and large, from the students that I've heard from, they're doing pretty good and just continuing to use the resources that are available to them. And FSU is working with students, who might have family out in Southwest Florida to try and be as accommodating as possible as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Would anybody else like to share what's happening with the students that you're involved with?
Sure. This is Michael Litchfield from Florida State College of Jacksonville. We
Hey,
weren't
Mike.
really in the direct physical impact area, but we do have a lot of folks that have had family, and a lot of ours, I guess, has largely been focused around making sure that they kind of get whether it be mental health assistance or things like that. So we've had a lot of announcements that we've done to our students to let them know, because we have a student assistance program that we're linked to that allows them essentially 3 free counseling sessions to start out. But we've talked about community resources available to them, but that's really our support largely has been just helping them, because a lot of them have family that are down there and they're dealing with that tragedy. And this is, as you already mentioned earlier, that's on top of COVID related tragedy. And when you have stuff like this, it revisits that. It kind of brings a lot of that back, and they're tackling it again. But we've got a lot of students that have reached out, and we've got that. We do have like kind of a little bit of a college level emergency fund as well that we assist some students in, that if they're, let's say, if they're doing classes remotely and they do live in the impact area. But largely what we've seen so far has been mental health related more so.
Interesting what you say, yeah, because when you talk about students who are taking classes remotely, here you are all of a sudden maybe experiencing X number of students who are suffering the effects of the hurricane, but they're not there physically. They are remote students, and that could happen all over the place now as so many more students are taking classes remotely. Thank you for reminding us of that. Okay, well, thank you all for sharing. I really appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to turn our attention to, but let me ask you this before I forget. Any ideas and thoughts how the Positive Pathways Network can help? How can the Positive Pathways Network help in this situation?
Steve, this is Yvette.
Hey,
Like
Yvette.
I posted over there in the chat, I thought that concept was really cool. Where, you know, people are there, and in that particular group, it's moms. You know, so you might, you know, I've got a kid up in FSU, so if he was sick, but what I was curious about is I was willing and able to take a teen, you know, somebody who was in college, because my two have left for college, so I had space. I'd be curious, you know, I don't know what that informal support looks like. It looks like some of the agencies, you know, had a way of sort of, you know, stepping in and helping out their kids. But if there were other people, former foster care workers, you know, former foster parents who, you know, were able to lend a helping hand, somehow putting those people and resources somehow together informally. I mean, I was willing to drive, you know, an hour and a half if there was a kid who was stuck, and then take them back, but something like that. I don't know. It was just a thought.
No, it's a great thought. It's a great thought, but Positive Pathways can set up a help board or a need board so
I
that
like that. Yeah,
people from our network can just come on our website and front and center
I like that.
the need. So yeah, so let me start off right now. If any of you can think about any resources that you have or any needs that you or your students have that are maybe not able to be served directly and quickly by your campus, please feel free to put that in the chat. I copy and paste everything in the chat and I will work on that. So thank you so much, Yvette.
I think our vast and experienced Guardian Ad Litem network would be
Yes.
an excellent target for that conversation. And let's talk with our good friend Calvin Martin about that possibility.
Yes, that would be definitely.
Oh, there he
Okay.
is. There he is on chat.
Great. Calvin, yes, any ideas about, you know, how your network can support the students in these areas? I know that Calvin's been, you know, has trained, Calvin and Raquel Perry have trained more than 500 Guardians Ad Litem who are interested in supporting students beyond the age 18, right, Calvin?
Yeah, I think one of the best ways that what we can do to assist is really what you guys are doing today, right now, is the past couple of days I've been gathering as many resources as possible, and then getting it out to our network and making them our volunteer network understand and identify those local available resources that are potentially within their grasp. So I think this level of awareness that your network is putting out is crucial at the moment. And I just want to also give a kudos for Yvette putting out that one resource, the Facebook page of Bonus Moms. That's so intriguing, and it immediately got me to thinking about what a number of our young people, and particularly that are so far away from home and may not necessarily have the support system locally with them. So this is something that I think has some strong foundation, and this is a great resource. So I appreciate this is the kind of stuff that we would love to continue to get out there into our network. So I definitely appreciate everybody's being able to put this information out there.
Great, thank you, Calvin. As you can see on the board, there's on the screen, there are a couple of, you know, the University of Central Florida has this, you know, this link that can provide updates. And I'm gonna post this afterward so that you can actually just click and get right to it. Valencia College, they will reopen their campuses on, I guess, next Tuesday. And they have severely been, you know, they posted this: during the college closure, students are not expected to complete academic assignments or tests. So that's important to know if you have students who ask about that. And of course, they also have a Twitter feed that you can go on to. Also, the governor was on the television today, and he talked about this, the disasterassistance.gov. This is where you can enter your city and state or zip code to see if your area has been declared for individual assistance. This is a system that you may be able to take advantage of. So please let your students know about this as well, because there are applications being taken for direct individual assistance. And also for those who are, and this is for students and faculty and staff, everybody in Lee and Charlotte counties, there's something called Operation Blue Roof, which you can sign up, and they actually go to your home and they put this tarp on your roof for free in these affected areas. So the number there is 1-888 Roof Blue, 1-888-766-3258. Okay, so those are just some general.
Hey, Steve, real quick, just let you know, Shay put in the comments that I think she's having audio challenges. I think she may need you to unmute her when you have a minute.
To unmute her, okay. I don't know if I can do that. I can ask for people to unmute, but I don't see where I can unmute a person. So I'm sorry about that. I can call Shay. I'll do that. In the meantime, I'd like to turn it over now at this time to Gabrielle Colon and Shannon Harding to talk to us about the Embrace Families Legacy Mentor Program. Shannon and Gabrielle, and thank you, Calvin, for letting me know.
Hi, thank you for letting us present. I will try to share my screen.
Let me stop sharing mine.
Okay.
Can you share now?
Let me see. Yes.
Do I need to give permission or you can share?
Um,
Oh, there you go. Okay, good.
What I'm seeing, okay. The Embrace Families Legacy Mentoring Program, okay. Okay, so my name is Gabriela Colon. I am the Legacy Mentor Program Manager. And on the call as well is Shannon Harding. She is my supervisor. Shannon, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you all for having us today. And we're excited to become part of this meeting on an ongoing basis. My name is Shannon Harding. I'm the Assistant Director of Youth Services with Embrace Families, and I oversee many of the youth engagement programs that we have here in Central Florida, and one being our Legacy Mentor Program that Gabriela is going to share with you a little bit about.
Yes. So the Legacy Mentoring Program has been around for 15 years. However, the system is constantly changing, as we all know. So we've had to adjust over the years and our processes. But we are currently matching youth in care 13 to 23 years old in the Tri-County area, that being Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties. We match them with positive adult role models in our community. Our mentors have a very unique role because it allows them to be a trusted friend, a voice of encouragement, and a listening ear for our youth. Many of these kids sometimes even trust their mentor more than their case managers. So mentors spend quality time with their mentees, introducing them to activities, experiences, expand their horizons. We encourage them to teach them life skills as well that are typically passed on by one's own parent, but of course, we know the circumstances that they are in. So we really encourage listening to their stories of resiliency and just with some compassion. And then with the commitment and support of a mentor, youth in foster care are better able to rise above their statistics that they're faced with by so many of their peers. By getting you involved, you can help a young person maneuver through life's obstacles, improve their outlook by meeting them where they are and support them through their transition into adulthood. We encourage our mentors that if they are able to connect them through their careers. So if we have youth that are interested in a similar career path, or even the same career, to also mentor them in that aspect. So give them advice, tutor them, even allow them to shadow you one day at work is a great experience for them. So why do our youth need mentors? So former foster youth suffer from much higher rates of mental illness, education disabilities, financial insecurity, then does the general populations. So foster youth who have experienced many different foster home placements, a significant relationship disruption, often become accustomed to relying on no one but themselves and come to view dependence on others as a personal weakness or indication of their personal failures. Young people in foster care are like your typical teenagers, but often they lack stable, committed relationships with an adult that they can rely on or look up to and trust. Like our peers, our kids deserve to be congratulated when they do well on a test, celebrated for even the smallest milestones, and taken out on their birthday, you know, for a special meal that is just for them. The list goes on, but really what they need is your support, and they need to feel that they are important. So what should I expect as a mentor? Young adults in care, like all other teenagers their age, are growing and learning about themselves, forming their identities, and they've experienced a lot of loss and trauma. And at times they may struggle and cope with navigating their emotions. So to protect themselves from disappointment and additional loss, they may seem a little guarded, are unsure on how to best interact with their mentor. What they need most are consistent adults who are going to accept them regardless of their past or current circumstances and really commit to spending time and developing a trusting relationship with them. They need to feel that it's genuine. So what makes a good mentor? Patience, empathy, etc. But above all else, a good mentor is someone who is going to be reliable and consistent, because these kids have gone through so much trauma and broken promises. So someone who is going to be with them and who's going to say that they're going to be somewhere and actually will show up goes a very long way. What do I need to become a mentor? So you have to be at least 25, pass our background checks, commit to at least 4 hours a month, which is, you know, that can be knocked down in a Saturday. Commit to at least 6 months, but we always encourage at least a year or more, even a lifetime, and be reliable and consistent, as said before. But it seems easy enough, right? But mentoring is not saving a kid. And let's make that very clear, because a lot of our mentors think, okay, well, I'm just going to change this kid's whole life by me mentoring them, but it's not always as easy as that. But it's about building a trusting relationship and a supportive connection with them. They need to feel like it's genuine as well, like I said. So one of the biggest challenges for our mentors and our mentees is that they're not stable. So let's say that they're at one placement one day, they might be at another placement another. They might get arrested, Baker-acted, go for a visit with their grandma, and, you know, be moving in with her. So at times, like our kids, they're very unstable. So we need somebody who's going to be consistent with them, and regardless of where they are placed, continue to mentor them. So regardless of their circumstances, good times or bad times, that they're going to be there for them. Because that's their normal, right? They're used to somebody being unstable, and we want to show them consistency and stability. So the next steps for being a mentor would be to contact myself. My information is located here. And if you are ever interested, you can text me, call me, email me, and I can provide you with that information and with our orientation packet. Hannah, is there anything that you want to add?
Yeah, just one quick thing. Thank you very much, Gabriella. That was great. I know that a lot of programs and CBCs across the state of Florida have a mentoring program. And it does ebb and flow. We see a lot of success, and then we see a lot of drop off. And as Gabriella mentioned at the beginning, our kids are getting harder, which I'm sure all of you all know that as well on this call. So we are very, very intentional and direct when we are recruiting our mentors. It's important for them to not be kept in the dark. It's important for them to know the challenges. And when I say that, I'm not talking about the reasons that these kids are in care, but just the reality of what potentially they could experience. We have also begun not only doing an orientation for our mentors, but we also are teaching our kids how to be a mentee. Oftentimes, Gabriella mentioned as well that they see us as a crutch, or us, the mentors, as a crutch, or someone that's just going to buy them food or take them to do things. But it's a partnership, it's a collaboration, it's a friendship and a supportive connection on both sides. And so we are making it a point to meet with our mentors now face to face with the kids for the first time. Gabriella has started to do that since COVID is kind of on the heading out, I guess I can say. But overall, this is a continuous need for our kids. Oftentimes it's court ordered or recommended from the school system. And, you know, we can recommend all day, all kinds of things, but if the kid doesn't want it, it's not going to work. And so we have to do a little bit of selling and encouraging on our part as well. And just like everyone in the school system and probably on this call, you understand that. So if you guys have any questions about our program, about documentation we use, how we screen, how we get feedback, we'd be happy to share that. And if you guys have know of any kids in the local area that we are in, we would be happy to potentially match them if you have them. So thank you guys. If you have any questions, you can, I guess, put it in the chat or let us know.
Yeah. So any questions? I'm gonna open the floor up. No? Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to speak with anyone who is interested.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
both
you.
for doing this. All right. Okay, so I want to thank Gabriella and Shannon and Carrie at Embrace Families for this opportunity to hear about their programs. If any of you, since you know you're dedicated, what are the areas? What are the counties that you serve?
We serve the Tri-County area, so that is Orange, Seminole, and Osceola.
Okay, and up to what age?
23.
Oh, okay, great. So it's for the older youth as well.
Yes.
All right, excellent. So I know that you know, the Guardian Scholars or the Guardian Ad Litem program with the Calvin has been you know, interested in doing that as well, and has been training folks. And I think it's going to start, you know, their next stage is to identify people. Do you have any Guardians Ad Litem who are a part of that, or is this a different group?
I can take that, Gabriella. One thing we didn't mention that I think it's just an assumption of Embrace Families is that mentoring should be free. Many of our mentoring programs are funded in the past, and we took a good look at what we were spending locally with Embrace Families, and it was astronomical to pay a position or pay someone to want to hang out with our kids. So we have really shifted that thinking and process, and our case management agencies know that a referral to Legacy Mentor is required first, because you shouldn't have to pay someone that says they want to do it to hang out with the kid and make them better. So all of our mentors are free. Our Guardian Ad Litems, you know, we really should count them as mentors, but we don't. They naturally are a mentor for the kid and advocate for the kid. But I don't think we have any directly that are linked, but that just put a great idea into our head as far as tracking. So yeah, that's all I have for that. But
okay, thank you. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
All right, so it's 2:19. One of the things that I did want to share,
Hey,
going
Steve,
back.
real quick, I just want to, can I add something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
That may be good for Embrace Families is that what you triggered for me is that I think you possibly can add any Guardian Ad Litems that to your count, to your head count as mentors through some type of revision, policy revision with for your mentors, because I can't see why you couldn't do that, especially if you know that the guardian has a strong relationship with the young person, and this young person is under your purview. I see it as a win-win to see if you can count that somehow. And if there's any way I can do to assist you all in making it happen, I would love to do that too. So.
Yeah, I agree, Calvin. It definitely, a light bulb went off in my head as well. The only barrier that I see is that the guardian ad litem is still connected to our kids' cases. And oftentimes our kids like to have someone that doesn't know the nitty gritty about them, that doesn't know, what they've been through. So having that other person, but we still, there's no reason you can't have multiple. So I definitely agree with you. I see both sides as beneficial.
That's true. Good point. Thank you.
Okay, but at the same time, Calvin, it doesn't have to be that they're going to be the mentor to the kid that they had before that child turned 18.
That's true. And
So-
I love the fact that you could have more than one mentor. You can have a primary mentor and then a whole host of secondary mentors too. And that's why I think I love the idea of Embrace being able to count the guardian in some fashion if it lines up and it fits from a policy standpoint.
Excellent, great, thanks. Anybody else, any other thoughts? All right, so I do want to share, let me share my screen again for a couple of things. So before I forget, what Shay Razier, who is a wonderful supportive member of our network, wanted to share was this, the care portal of the Global Orphan Project. It's a way to submit requests for some extra help. Care portal creates connections within the circles of care around isolated children. Families, churches, and communities are brought together to create a healthy approach to caring for kids. So this is another at careportal.org, another potential resource to check out. And we did hear about, if you have any ideas, about like what the affected areas are, you can see this. It was just, straight up across the middle of the state, and really devastating, if you look at some of these pictures. And in terms of what was shared by Sandra Obas, we did ask students if they felt like they needed mental health services. And this was, at the end of quote unquote COVID and before this hurricane. And as you can see, as she said, 40% said yes, 43% said no, and 18% are not sure. So even if half of those not sure wanted to answer yes, you have a pretty hefty majority of students who feel that they need mental health services. And then what are your plans regarding your education? As you can see, the vast majority of them were planning to continue. So that is really something to take into consideration as these young people are, impacted by the hurricane. They definitely want to continue. And what do they need? Here are some very practical things that they said they needed. Bus passes, well, you can see it there. One said to stay clean, more scholarships, financial assistance. So can you imagine a person who put their stay clean and during this time of extraordinary challenges? So I just really suggest, any help that the campuses that are faced with the hurricane impact need, please let us know. We are a network around the whole state who can provide assistance, okay? All right, at this time, as we're closing up, I would like anybody who has not had a chance to introduce themselves at a prior Positive Pathways meeting to please introduce yourself today, and please write in the chat who you are and where you're from. And please also, everyone needs to remember that to go to the Positive Pathways website to join the Positive Pathways Network, positivepathwaysflorida.org. And as soon as you do, on the top right, it'll say join the network, or if you hover, it'll show up and then you fill out this chart. So can those of you who are new with us today, please share who you are. Ezekiel? Ezekiel froze. How about Rocio Dean?
Good
Howard.
afternoon. Oh, go ahead, Ezekiel.
Employment, housing, education, and then also counseling and therapy. We have a counseling and therapy component as well. We service the 4 counties in Central Florida, which are going to include Osceola, Orange, Seminole, Lake County. We're looking to expand into Sumter County and also Brevard. We're just awaiting word back from the Open Doors Network. We do service individuals ages 10 to 24, human trafficking survivors. They don't necessarily have to be verified human trafficking survivors. They can be considered at risk as well. But again, thank you so much for having me on today.
Thank you. And Ezekiel, what is the name of your organization? I think we missed that.
The Flight Center, FLITE.
Oh, the Flight.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The famous Flight Center from Broward and flying up a little bit into Palm Beach.
Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you for being with us. Okay, who's next? Rocio Dean?
Yeah, yes, good afternoon. Actually, I was on last month. I'm the new director for independent living for Brevard Family Partnership. And this is probably my 35th day here. So thank you for
Fantastic.
having me. Yes. So I
it's
am getting a lot of information and this is wonderful.
That's great. It's wonderful to have you as well.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Anybody else? I feel like Lauren Levins, did you introduce yourself last time? I think you were with us until even the training, weren't you?
Yes, I've actually introduced myself many times.
Many
But yes,
times.
I've done. I did do the onboarding with you last month.
Okay, thank you. I thought
But yes, always a good time being here.
so. Well, where are you from though?
Broward College.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes, I'm with Broward. Definitely always get a lot of good information here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Delane Estrada.
Hey, it's Delana. I'm the assistant registrar at Polk State College for the Winter Haven campus. This is my 2nd month of meetings.
Hey, Delana, thank you so much. So your campus was affected as well, right? And the Winter Haven was affected.
Yeah, luckily we weren't in the direct path of the storm, but we did get some damage. A lot of flooding on our main campus in Winter Haven and Lakeland, and a bunch of tree branches. But other than that, no complaints.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm the case manager in the Student Services Department at KCC, Tallahassee Community College.
Excellent. Kayla, it's good to have you with us. Did you just start in that position?
I did, yes.
Well, welcome, welcome.
Thank
We
you.
are so happy to see. And right in my screen, right underneath you is Dr. Sonia Wright Smith.
Yes, I was about to introduce Kayla. She replaces our other Kayla who moved on back in March. So we are excited and happy to have Kayla to join us, who's a recent graduate from Florida State University. We're excited to have her join us in our case management role. This is kind of new for her in reference to positive pathways, but she is taking off and running, trying to get our emerging Eagles involved. She has already created spreadsheets. She's already created a survey to try to get our students back active and involved. So we're excited to have her with us.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for introducing her and for hiring her. So let me say right off the bat, 2 things that are happening. One, Caitlin and I'm sorry, I meant to say the university group. We have 2 groups that operate and meet once a month. One of them is the college group. We call it College Connections. And so Kayla, please email me at pathways@educatetomorrow.org so that I can get you in touch with the people who are heading that up, including Wendy Joseph at Miami-Dade College, So it's just the folks who are working with college level. They get together once a month and they share and they network with each other. And the same with the university team. We have, a university, the folks have recently have notified of an upcoming meeting. And I know that Caitlin works with Lisa Jackson on that, and Anna Ramos and Tammy. They meet once a month as well. So they have, unique needs and interactions. So please be aware of that. And the last thing I'd like to share with you real quick as we close out, if any of you have students between ages of 14 and 21 who are interested in who you think might be interested in doing the Casey Life Skills Assessment, if you are interested in having your students do the new Casey Life Skills Assessment, please feel free to email me at pathways@educatetomorrow.org. They are validating this study, and I'm a part of that. It's a national study to validate the new Casey Life Skills Assessment. It's 60% different. We'd really be interested in any of you who have students who you think could take that, okay? All right, well, at this time, I would like to thank all of you for joining us on the Positive Pathways monthly call for October. Thank you for sharing as you did. And I invite anybody to stay. And I'm going to come back in 5 minutes or so and do the onboarding for those of you who want to become official members of the Positive Pathways Network. But other than that, thank you all so much for your time and have a good week and definitely stay safe.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, Kayla and Ezekiel, you're gonna be with me for the training. And Shay. Shay, did you say that, oh, Shay, I think was having problems with the mic. All right, well, thank you all for being here. Just give me a minute or two and I was just gonna get something to drink and then I'll come right back, okay? I'll be right back. I'm gonna share the onboarding presentation. All right, give me a minute. Okay, all right, so we have Mike almost joined us back again. He's known about us for a long time. So Ezekiel, you're gonna be stationed for the Palm Beach operation, or how's that gonna work?
We're in Central Florida, so I live in St. Cloud, Florida.
Oh, okay.
We've been, we may come down for the ribbon cutting. I believe it's October 19th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But as far as going back and forth, especially with Hurricane Ian, we won't be available to come down.
No, I hear you.
Anytime soon.
I hear you. Okay. And Kayla, you live in Tallahassee?
I do, yes.
All right, excellent. And I know Shay is in Lake. So maybe she's hanging on because she heard you say Lake, Ezekiel.
Yes,
You
sir.
said Lake and Sumter. I said,
Yes.
Shay's gonna be tuning in.
Yeah, we actually met at the last Human Trafficking Task Force meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. All right. So y'all see my screen where it says 2022 onboarding?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. So welcome to the 2022 October onboarding presentation of Positive Pathways. I am very excited to have you both, you all here. And I'd like to start off telling you that Positive Pathways is a unique organization. As a matter of fact, throughout the whole country, there are 2 people who are paid to work full-time doing this kind of work I'm going to describe to you. And I'm blessed to be one of those 2 people. And the other one is in Michigan, which Educate Tomorrow recently took over operations for Michigan as well. So we're very happy to tell you that here in Florida, what we have developed over the past 7 years, almost 8 years now, is a network model that you can see in front of you that involves education communities involving the K through 12, technical colleges, universities, as well as colleges, right? Formerly known as community colleges and now known as state colleges, and independent living social service community. So that could be anybody who has a contract as a community-based care provider throughout Florida, or those lead agencies, or the community-based care providers underneath those lead agencies. That's what we consider our independent living social service community. Now, there may be folks who serve the same population, and they say, what about us? And I say, well, you're over there on the left side, probably, which is the nonprofit philanthropic organizations. So whereas Ms. Kayla would be with our education communities up there at TCC, the folks who shared earlier, Shannon and Gabrielle, they are employed by Embrace Families, which is a lead community-based care organization in Orlando. So they would be there on the right side. And then the folks who are here now with Shay Razier and Mr. Ezekiel, y'all would be under the nonprofit and philanthropic organizations. So you form a very important component. So we definitely know that you are one of the 4 pillars of this work. And then, of course, families, peers, and neighborhoods, which a lot of times they're overlooked, but young people from foster care who got to college showed that by and large, those who I interviewed all had older siblings. They could be bio siblings, step siblings, foster siblings, older siblings, and peers, and also mentors who help them. So that would be in the families neighborhoods group. So what does Positive Pathways do? Positive Pathways was created in 2016. It's funded by DCF in response to the law requiring collaboration between the Department of Children and Families and the Florida Department of Education. Well, that's one of the first things that makes us unique, because a lot of states don't even have that type of requirement for that kind of collaborations. And because they don't have that requirement, there's not a lot of collaboration statewide in a lot of these places. We have seen, because of this unique statewide program that's administered by Educate Tomorrow, a dramatic increase in the number of students from foster care using the tuition and fee exemption. And if you go ahead and look at this right here, this shows you the enrollment data over the past few years since 2015. Every single year, except when COVID started impacting the situation, you saw a decrease or an increase in students. The gold bar, those are colleges, state colleges. The red bar are the universities, and the blue are technical colleges, which I still believe that there's a lot more than 350. It's just been hard to get some of those numbers. But we've had a steady rise, except when COVID came and knocked us hard, especially, in that, if you see the difference, you can see where the hardest hit was that red bar. That red bar went from 1890 down to 1317. Well, you know what that means? More than 400 former foster youth who were in university level are now gone. And that's a struggle. That hurts. And someone might say, oh, they went straight to the colleges. No, they didn't, because you can see right there, the colleges went down too. So that definitely is a concern. But I will tell you, it's very encouraging that since the Positive Pathways Network started, actually, even before, you can see that there's been a 300% increase in the number of campus-based programs and initiatives. Now, since we have so many colleges and universities, 28 colleges and 10 universities, you would think, we need more. That's the bottom line. We need more, even though we have 16, but that growth is great. And the number of students served by campus-based programs has grown from 1241 to 5191. Now, does that mean that all those 5191 are interacting with the campus-based person? No. What it means is they have the opportunity to interact because that campus-based person is there. Right, Ms. Dover?
Yeah.
Now she is there, which means that people can interact. And fortunately, GCC has, even though they have made consistent efforts over the past few years to have someone there. And so they got on that list and they stayed on that list. And now because you're there, Ms. Dover, they'll stay on that list.
That's cool.
And then, of course, the last one shows the percent of students using the waiver who are served by these programs. And what that means is that we have made a concerted effort to establish programs at places that have a large number of students. That's what that means. So that number has increased dramatically. And if you get a sense, you want to get a sense of, well, we saw this one already, of where these students are. So in 2019, 2020, this definitely has to be updated, but you can see that we had the largest number of students there in Broward and Miami-Dade College, and then Valencia College up in that area. And then look who's number 4, Ms. Dover.
Yeah, that's us.
That's you. Like I
That's
said,
awesome.
yeah. So that was, in 2019, 2020, we're gonna get updated numbers, but for sure that you're in the top 10. That's for 100% sure.
That's great. That's really
So,
great.
yeah. And so it's so exciting to me to know that you started, making lists and checking names so that you can see who's still there, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's good. And then here's what I'm most excited about is right here. These are students who actually graduated using the waiver. Because you can talk all day about they all got in there, but we know that they don't all get out. And this shows that every single year, from 2013 to 2020, the number of graduates has increased. And it shows that the total, if you add up 2273 and 1293, Alexa, what is 2273 plus 1293?
2,273. By the way, you have a new notification. You want to do it?
No, thank you. She wants to tell me about it in my next meeting. So anyway, you can see that, it's more than 4,500 students, which is very encouraging. Very encouraging. I mean, I'm sorry, 3,000, more than 3,500. All right. All right. So what's the purpose and benefit? The purpose and benefits, the purpose is to develop and support a statewide network of informed, empathetic, and dedicated education and child welfare professionals to support students from foster care and homeless settings through their journeys to post-secondary completion. That's the official purpose. And then the benefits, as you can see, the monthly network call like today, targeted professional development, which I'll share with you some that we have, these networking opportunities, daily access to immediate technical support. That's me. You can contact me any day, phone me, text me, email me. We do have the small group support that I mentioned earlier, university connections and college connections. And then we have resources and directories. So if you have any student who ever says, oh, but I'm interested in going to this place of campus, you go onto our website, which I'll show you, and you type in there. Well, let me do it now, might as well. You go to our website, www.positivepathwaysflorida.org, and you see where it says programs and liaisons. And you can click on campus-based programs. Oh, yeah, if you click on campus-based programs, you'll see those places that have the most active groups. And Ms. Dover, you see here that it says Emerging Eagles Program.
Mhm.
And you're right up there, but guess what we're missing?
What are we missing?
Your
Picture.
picture. Would like to have your picture so that if a student is walking in the area and they're a little afraid to go in your office and they see you come out, they know that's you.
All right, yeah, that sounds good.
Thank you so much. And you can see some of the other folks who spoke today. See there, Dr. Tammy Nadeau and Caitlin Cates. These are the folks who have some of the most active programs. And then here's some more, FAU and IU. Okay, and then here's a list of some of the other programs that are up and coming. You got the Emerging Eagles in Tallahassee. These are emerging programs, right? All right, so that's that group. And then if you want to go and just say, let's say someone tells you, who is the, someone in Tallahassee might ask Ms. Kayla, so who is the coach over there in Miami, FIU? And then you click here where it says State University Liaisons, and right in the search screen, you can just put Miami, and up pops Ana Ramos. You see?
Awesome.
Or you can pop in there Orlando, and there comes Tammy Nadeau. Or you can just say, oh, I know that the woman's name was Jasmine. I don't know. I know that, because this is a place where one of your TCC might want to go west a little bit.
Mhm.
They say, I'm not that interested in FAMU or FSU. What else do you have up here? Well, I have the University of West Florida, Pensacola. So, all right.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So back to the other screen. What happened? Oh, here we go. All right. Oh my, I'm sorry. Got a little lost. Oh, why I should not have all these screens open. Where is that screen? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Onboarding. Okay, good. So yeah, so our areas of focus are, the networking. We have a newsletter that comes out once every 3 months. And you can go on to our website and see those past newsletters. I'm going to close these other ones out so I don't get lost again. Our expectations of members is that you help the students on your campus with enrollment, financial aid applications, etc. Explore career opportunities. Now, Mr. Ezekiel, could you just tell us a little bit about your program?
Yes, sir.
What is going to happen there?
We're replicating the model system that we have down south in Broward County. To date, we don't have a brick and mortar building as we do down south in West Palm Beach as well. So a lot of our services currently are going to be resourced. So again, we're in the process of trying to get a building up here. The concern has been because Central Florida is so wide. In the areas that we do service, being 4 counties, looking to expand to 6, and the transportation is a little bit different as opposed to Broward County as well. So again, the services as far as education, currently I used to facilitate the trainings for our employability skill sessions that we would have every week down south prior to moving up here. As far as education, we have a couple individuals that we're servicing up here, but they're going to be more, they're going to be going to high school. So it's not college or state college, you know, university, things of that nature
Mhm.
currently right now. So again, just being a part of your program, really for us is going to be connecting with other university leaders and people that we can, you know, kind of lean on to say, hey, we have a young lady that, you know, is age 17, she's getting ready to graduate high school.
Yeah.
What would be some of the options for her? And then we kind of just walk our clients through the process. It's not a system where there's only like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and then we wipe our hands clean with them, as in like having a caseload. We literally walk our clients through until they're done. So again, we service individuals ages 10 through 24. But you know, with the Flight Center, if there's a need to extend services, we try to make sure that we can find any way possible to assist them.
Excellent, wonderful. All right, good. And Ms. Dover, you were there. Are you new to TCC or just new to this role?
New to TCC, so I started, this will be my 3rd week. So I've been here for like 2.5 weeks right now.
Great. And where were you before?
I had just graduated from Florida State. So this is like my first role, post-grad in my career.
Right. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
That's excellent. Well, since you're just from Florida State, you have hopefully, you know about their care program, and they should be willing to be connected with you and help you.
Yes, I'm hoping so.
Very excited about that. Very excited about that. And keep your ears tuned in, because we want to make some connections among the people in that Leon County area as well.
Mhm.
All right. So it's connecting students to resources, just like you said, Ezekiel. That's what we're will happen. And then in terms of those on campus, Ms. Dover, one of the things that you're going to hear when you participate in the college connection meetings is that they suggest that you build campus connections and your internal networks. People who you can depend on when you send a student over there, that they don't just have to sit for an hour and get discouraged, that they will, get some kind of personalized treatment if possible. And then whenever you, like you're doing this time, participating in the monthly calls is very important. And then voicing your opinions and concerns on matters related to students, and then providing current contact information. So Ms. Dover, if you can did you put your information in the chat?
I didn't put my email or phone number, so I'll put that in the chat right now.
Yeah, thank you. And this way I can update you. And you know what, Mr. McKean, it's McKean?
It's gonna be McKine.
McKine, okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. McKine. All right, well, Mr. McKine, would you mind me, we need to have a database for folks like yourself.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if we could develop something like that, and literally someone just types in human trafficking, right? Your program will come up, the new program that Flight is establishing in Palm Beach. So, or they just type in Flight Center and those will come up. So that's something that I need to get on. So thank you for being there and helping me think about that.
No problem at all.
All right. And so really, so where does this all come from? It comes from the tuition waiver. The state of Florida provides tuition and fee exemptions to eligible students through age 28. A lot of people don't know that, but this waiver is authorized at state public universities, colleges, public colleges, technical colleges, and K through 12 programs that serve, K through 12 districts that serve young adults. And not just young adults, because 28 years old is not necessarily a young adult, that's an adult already. So people who've been adopted as well. People who've been in custody of relatives or non-relatives. And I need to add there also that they were reunited with their parents. That's the new one. That's fantastic. Reunited with their parents after having spent 18 months in foster care. They can also benefit from this benefit. Okay, so that's what waiver is. And the legal context for our work is that in 2014, the legislature started saying that DCF needs to collaborate with the Board of Governors and the Florida college system. It's actually in the legislation. And I've got to change this as well because the new legislation doesn't say Board of Governors, it says State University System. And because it says Board of Governors, get this, almost lost this in the law. Because the Board of Governors is that policy setting leadership group. And somebody said, wait a minute, the Department of Children and Families doesn't interact with this group of people. Let's cut that out of the law. And when we happening, we're like, wait a minute, don't just cut that out of the law. Why don't you change it? If that's the issue, change it in the law to say State University System. So now that's what it says, and so I need to change it here. We have partners all over the state. You heard from a couple of them today. You heard me mention the Scholars Program. You heard me mention community-based care agencies. You heard me mention the Florida Guardian Ad Litem Network program. So you see that our members our statewide members are active. We're also going to be establishing regional points of contact so that if anybody has a challenge getting in touch with an individual school, go on our website and also find lists of the community-based care agencies. If you had any interest in contacting any of these lead agencies like Embrace Families or Citrus or in Broward, it would be ChildNet. You can go on and you'll see the list of independent living contacts. We do have trainings, and I'll tell you another idea, Mr. McKine, that you're giving me is that maybe in the future we can have a training on working with exceptionally, vulnerable population. I mean, the intersection between young men and women who are going through the human trafficking, who have been through, and the university, that would be an extraordinary training.
Definitely.
So let's think about that, because I would welcome your support with something like that.
Not a problem.
So you can see here that we have this training from group home to college. And this was also a unique niche that we tried to get into, the students who were in group homes. And you can see, we had a lot of members helping us with that. So this is available to you. If you go onto our website, under professional development, you'll find this. And you can see also that another one was another niche, helping students with accommodations transition to higher education. Another webinar that we have that's available for you to look at as well. And on that accommodations, we provided this list, which is a map of locations of State University System and Florida college institutions, offices of accessibility. So if you look here and you want information on any of these offices, all of this is linked. See, now let's see, like if I click here on Tallahassee Community College, it takes us right to page not found. Uh-oh, Ms. Dover.
Let me send the link for the student accessibility office.
Huh?
I'll send the link for the student.
Thank you. Thank you so much. See, sometimes you got to check your own operation there, right? So at least we're gonna get that fixed. And let me see here again. Okay, we have an annual conference that's going to be happening in May. The last time it was the Power of Positive Partnerships. We had these kind of topics covered, major changes in law, a little bit that I mentioned, what makes for a powerful campus-based program. We talked about partnering to support student success stories from the community-based care. And this is how you can reach me. This is my telephone number. Please use the first one, 786-223-6884. The second one is our office number. And that's just an extra layer of trying to get to me. So you can text me, you can call me directly at that number. Here's our email, pathways@educatetomorrow.org. And our Facebook page is especially helpful. Please join up, type in Positive Pathways Florida, and you'll be taken to our Facebook page. I'd love to have you join us there. We're constantly posting information and updates and stories there, as you can see. Okay. This is the latest one. My boss and I went over to California to participate in a national conference. We presented at a national conference, but I post things that are happening like there. You talked about Brevard County, maybe getting involved with them. This is a group of people who presented at our last annual conference. All of these people are from different organizations in Brevard County who work together in a united group. So when you go to Brevard County, this woman here on the right, Pam Bressler, she's a person to connect with. So they have a resource center there, definitely Ready for Life Brevard. Okay, and of course you can see our monthly meetings are publicized there. Oh, and this podcast, oh my gosh, this agingoutinstitute.org, if you have a chance to go to them and to listen to their podcast, they have wonderful podcasts. They have one incredible story about, get this, mobile tiny homes. Mobile tiny homes. There's an organization that creates these homes, builds them. They cost about $40,000 and they're mobile. That means that if you can help one of your young women or men get into one of these homes, and then someone says, oh, we're going to raise your rent on this land, they can pick up and move it to a different place. And there's some places that allow them to just go into the backyard of somebody with this mobile home and stay there. And if the young person graduates to owning their own home, but they already own this one, they can rent this out. It's a wonderful program that you can listen to. All right. Does anybody have any questions?
No, sir.
No questions? Sorry. Okay, Ms. Dover, any questions?
Nope, nothing I can think of.
All right, well then I tried to cover the ground as good as possible for you. Please know that we're here, that I'm here. I work on this operation every day. Don't ever hesitate to even just text, all you have to do is text and say, hey, this is Ezekiel, this is Kayla. I have a question, or can you give me this, or can you connect me with such and such? Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you both for your time, and thank you for your service in this field. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Yeah,
Everyone has a good one.
you too.
All right.
Is Shay? Oh.